Hello and welcome to Walking New Paths, an inclusive series created to learn and journey with people forging their way through life with faith and courage. I'm one of your hosts, Lydia, and welcome to our first ever episode. Before we jump into it, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands we currently stand on. As we work, learn and live, we acknowledge their spirit, their history, their story, and their strength. We recognise their enduring connection to country, and we pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. We recognise that this land was never ceded, and we look forward in this moment to partaking in their ancient tradition of sharing stories.
Thank you for that wonderful acknowledgement, Lydia. My name is Sebastian. Most people call me Seb, and we are the Young Lasallians team. It's our privilege to actually share this with you. It's our privilege to, after long periods of work, actually get this Walking New Paths series out to you. It represents a lot of work and a lot of hours and a lot of great things that I'm sure we're going to hear about.
I'm another member of the team, and my name is Damian. You can call me Damo, though, if you like. Originally from South Africa, Italian, Lebanese. I love music. And I've really loved this podcast that we've been putting together and the amazing people that we've gotten to speak to. We are so privileged, as Seb was saying, to be able to do this and to ultimately share stories.
It's exciting to be part of the team. My name's Phil or Philippe. Some people call me Sweet Chili, but it's awesome to be here and to be with you on this Walking New Path series. We have definitely walked a new path, and none of us are professional podcasters, but we've had so much fun learning and growing with you. And just forgive us as you can hear those learning moments in this podcast. So over to you, Lids.
Thanks, Phil. Learning moments are so important. Quickly, just a little bit about me. Born and raised in New Zealand. Both my parents are Samoan, which funnily enough doesn't make me French. But I do have to say I'm definitely learning and appreciating my Samoan culture more each day. I'm also a loud and proud Queenslander, and all you Blue supporters, don't turn off the podcast right here. I promise there is goodness here for you too. So for anyone who's not familiar with the Young Lasallians team and the work that we do, it probably is best described in these three words: facilitation, accompany, and consultation. We have the pleasure of facilitating in-school programs, and these retreats can vary from anything from spirituality to well-being and community, faith and service. Once upon a time we did get to do that in person, and we're just so looking forward to the day that we get to do that in person again. Another big part of what we do is we accompany youth ministers and volunteers who carry out youth ministry programs throughout our district, and they do really important life-giving work. And the last thing we do is consult with other organisations and other people who are just like us, who have that shared goal of helping young people be their best selves. And along that journey, we've had some pretty amazing experiences, and we've heard and witnessed amazing stories as well. And I guess that's kind of where it started for us as well, is that we just wanted to spread goodness by way of storytelling. We know there are so many benefits when we take the time to stop and listen to each other. So that being said, Phil, what will people get out of listening to these stories?
Besides the quality of voices and insights from yours truly, and when I say yours truly, I mean the four people here, it's really about providing agency for all the listeners. There's a diversity of story that hopefully there's people that you connect with or people that have different opinions that you can learn from their path and to say, hey, I'm walking my own path at the moment, but I don't have to do it alone. That's one thing that's kind of struck with me as well. But I'm interested to hear the other insights of why this is happening.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys. I just had lots of fun actually having the conversations. I just really enjoyed getting to have different conversations. For our listeners, we have all been in lockdown as we've been recording these podcasts. And so the different conversations or the conversations we've been having have probably been kept to a minimum, and we sort of been talking to the same people for a couple months on end. So it's been really fun for me just to have different conversations, then in the process of having different conversations, different people being able to listen to other conversations and gain some of those new insights that Phil was talking about. I think, one of the reasons to listen to it and one of the things that I appreciated.
Yeah, 100%. It has been really fun. But also, I personally, like listening back to all the conversations, learned so much. There's so much wealth of experience, perspective, and wisdom in there that is, I found, shared in a really accessible way. And it was something that I found encouraging, something that I've been able to use as well. There's a few in there that I've actually applied some of what they were talking about already. It's not even released yet. Well, now it is released, and it's been really, really life-giving.
Yeah, I totally agree with everyone. It's been such a joy to listen to. One of the things that really stood out to me, if you're listening to this in the year 2021, you probably are in a lockdown somewhere, especially if you're in our district. And one of the things I've loved about it is that we don't have to wait until restrictions are lifted to start thinking about these things. And I think just today, when we're actually recording this, it's Are You OK Day in Australia. So I think it's a really timely thing to think about and ponder, because we can easily think about negative things when we're locked down and not having in-person contact. So I think it's another really great reason to listen to it.
Yeah, that's so good, Liz. I might add one thing just because it's fresh inspiration. I was actually reading it this morning on Instagram, of all places, that someone said, or someone posted, the best work you can do for others is to work on yourself. And yeah, that can happen wherever you are or whatever situation you're in. And so, yeah, that's hopefully what this helps us do.
And this whole series is called Walking New Paths. And it's been this amazing story, really, of us figuring out what is the correct step. Originally, Walking New Paths was this theme for an in-person gathering that we were going to gather a whole bunch of people. But we were challenged to really live out that theme as the restrictions limited us of what we thought we could do, but it expanded our mind to do something we never even thought of. And here is just one element, which is a podcast, to help share that story. And this amazing thing that when we're challenged by situations, when we're challenged by the reality of what we thought we could do, the creativity, the innovation, and the thoughtfulness came from there to look for others to inspiration, to see what could be possible when we couldn't meet in person. And that's the big part of this. And hopefully that shines through, that we know what we couldn't do, but we weren't defined by that. We actually pivoted and wanted to be creative and to really take up that challenge to walk a new path ourselves. And that's the bit of the story that I wanted to share.
It's a bit ironic, actually, thinking about it now, looking back, that the theme was walking new paths, and it sort of forced us to actually walk a new path ourselves.
So true. So true.
And so with hearing where this all began, I guess this is a good opportunity and time to talk about what to expect. I want to say that there's so many different voices, as you heard us allude to earlier, but you can expect that there's going to be a whole range of different people who are sharing their story in different segments, in different series. It's a time of hearing a story, a time of learning, and also just laughing along, because there are so many funny moments. I think us as our hosts, being maybe inexperienced podcaster people, there's so many, I think, really authentic, funny moments where we're just being ourselves, really. So I think that's something to expect, is that it is just us being us, and the people that we're interviewing just being themselves too.
I think you can also expect a lot of light bulb moments. I know that I got a lot of them while listening to some of the amazing stories that you'll hear. And I think one of the things that I personally would probably ask listeners to focus on what they can expect, is if you are really going to take anything away from it, listen with an open heart and an open mind, because these are people's stories and experiences that they're sharing from their point of view. We're not saying it's everyone's story. We're not saying it's necessarily the views of that we all hold as well. But this is the beauty of diversity, right? And inclusivity, is that all stories are welcome.
So as Damian alluded to, we've got lots of awesome guests that we've had the privilege and the honor of being able to have conversations with. We've got a De La Salle brother, a counselor, a politician, a professional DJ and teacher, a CEO, a slam poet, and a youth worker as well, or a youth minister, for those of you who know that terminology. And it's absolutely, it's been an absolute pleasure. I just have really enjoyed having these conversations. There have been any particular insights that any of you guys have gained from your conversations?
One of the biggest, I guess, insights, as you've mentioned, Seb, we try and reach to give people labels, but no one label can really define someone. That any of these people have so many facets to them. The depth of the stories and the honesty in their conversation is what really gives flavor to that. That's probably one of the most interesting insights of that sense of the depth of human nature and the depth of the human story that encourages us to be ourselves and not be in the same mold as anyone else. A particular conversation I appreciated was an Islamic new mother who started a movement that goes beyond her as she moves off into her career as a lawyer. And even in that sentence, I hope that piques your interest to the type of conversation that we're having.
Yeah, I think that's awesome, the complexity of the people, and say that, rather than the labels, we had an amazing bunch of human beings that we've just had to have conversations with, intersections of lots of different traits and qualities and lots of awesome things about each of the individuals that we've had the chance to speak to, that hopefully in the short amount of time that we've had to speak to them, we've been able to learn from, and by extension, you might get to learn from when you're listening.
And I guess with what we're saying around that these people are just people, I really was encouraged by their authenticity and also just how humble they were. I think there were some that were very, very practical, and you could hear that it wasn't something that they were reading from a book. It was something that they had lived and something that they had experienced themselves. And one of the quotes that really stuck with me, and I'm probably going to not say it exactly how they said it, so you'll have to listen to hear the exact quote, but it was the sense around deep character goes way further than great success. And I think that captures the deep character of all the people that we were privileged enough to speak to.
There are a lot of things that I definitely learned, but one of the greatest reminders I had after having the pleasure of interviewing my mentor was that sometimes we don't, or while walking new paths, we don't get to give up identities no matter what labels are placed on us. And those are the times we really need to be focused on our self-care and things that give us life. And I'm pretty excited for people to learn and take away their own learnings too.
So to everybody out there, we just want to encourage you to enjoy the journey, to like and subscribe wherever you are listening on this place, to be encouraged that this is a conversation starter. This is an encouragement for you to, wherever you are on your path, to maybe stop or to start or to review. But we here as a Young Lasallians team in the District of Australia, New Zealand, Pakistan and Papua New Guinea are here to support you. We're a team that are here to provide some accompaniment, to provide some encouragement. And if you look in the show notes below, you can get in contact with us. If you want to start the conversation or to share some feedback, we would love to hear from you. So again, from all the team here at the Young Lasallians in ANZ, PPNG, we offer our support and encouragement.